everybody, welcome. It's the return of the Return to the Purple Planet. So thank you very much for tuning in, either live as we talk, or asynchronously at another time, and you catch us up on Twitch and YouTube. So as always, I am here with the Purple Planet Papa, Mr. Harley Stroh, and I, of course, am Mr. Michael Curtis, Director of Product Development for Dungeon Crawl Classics, and we're here to talk more about the Purple Planet. So,
Yeah. Evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out.
how you doing, Harley?
I am well. How are you tonight, Mike?
I'm very tired, but it's always good to hang out with you. Not it was just like I will not see you until probably August of next year. So,
That's true. That's true. Yeah, yeah.
or maybe February of this coming year. We'll see. But anyway, so we have covered a lot of ground, wouldn't you say, over the last couple of shows about the Purple Planet?
Yeah, let's rehash real quick. So we've talked about some monsters. We've talked about Kith clans and ascended masters, and just kind of did a Purple Planet overview.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we talked about the Purple Planet, the original Peril on the Purple Planet as well. That was, so we've covered a lot of ground. And speaking of ground, it is now actually the time to talk a little bit about places on the ground and perhaps a little bit of the ground itself. So tonight we're going to talk about locations and landscape of the Purple Planet. And hello, Dice Station Zebra. Thank you very much for tuning in. So pleasure to see you. Now, so you brought up a lot of stuff, a lot of very interesting stuff when we were kind of putting the show notes together about it. And I think the main thing that really comes out to it is like setting as character.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
so you want to lay a little bit of your insights about that, because I think you have some very good like that role in space opera in general and kind of where we
Sure,
get to
sure.
today.
Well, I appreciate your kind words, Mike. Especially coming, for setting his character. I don't think anything in the Goodman games Milu beats that above, like Lankmar, right? Which is the setting, the city is itself a character acting on you. But when we first went after Peril on the Purple Planet, it was looming large in my imagination. Um, just the way that a planet setting or the setting for a game really needs to be visceral and speak to the players, right? So like, I go back to like when you see westerns, right? And there's these enormous red stone buttes, and the landscape just stretches out, as far as the eye can see, and then all of a sudden, that's real, right? And so that's a threat in and of itself. And I don't have a major in film studies, but in my heart of hearts I feel like the way westerns were written and the way westerns were filmed, then influenced, well, actually you brought it up, Lawrence of Arabia is a really strong piece.
Yes,
um
there's
yeah.
something you can do with that kind of that widescreen, especially in the 1960s or the 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, where everything was projected. Like when you shot for film, you shot for film.
Yeah.
We're kind of gotten to the point where now you can watch stuff on your on your iPhone or stuff like that. But that would cause John Ford palpitations. Kind of you need that certain aspect ratio, and that Lawrence of Arabia is classic for that. And I'm sure that was also inspired by, as you're talking about, like the great Western scene. So
Yeah.
that just becomes, not only is it the canvas that the scene is unfolding on, but it plays a role in the story itself. Whether
Mm-hmm.
that's
Right,
John.
like how many cool westerns they start off with, like the our protagonist has been shot. He's bleeding down the side of his saddle, and his horse is limping along this wasteland, like stretching on forever, right? And that's like the conflict is now. um and then those seem to to feed to the space operas and the science fiction movies I love. You jump to something like Star Wars, where miraculously every planet you go to appears to be just one ecosystem, right? So you have Hoth, which is going to be an ice planet, and you have Dagobah, which is going to be a swamp planet, which doesn't make any sense, but the elements of that planet, of that setting, so much inform what you're going to encounter. And there's nothing generic about it. It's immediately in your face. Like, if we stay out here any longer, we're gonna freeze to death. We gotta cut this thing open and crawl inside it, and like survive. Like, what a great scene! Like, surviving on the planet itself is an accomplishment.
Mhm.
And that was definitely something we were chasing when we created Peril on the Purple Planet. Never mind, the Kith or the Ascended Masters or the Death Orm that's coming up behind us. Just survival itself is going to be an accomplishment as we explore this planet.
Right, right. And
You know.
it's because I've had a lot of time to think about this since we started bantering this idea around. And they always say that, I mean, we're visual creatures. Humans are visual creatures. I mean, vision is like, one, I mean, we have five senses, but we like seeing stuff. So there, you can say in a role-playing game could be anything you can imagine. And they always say that, you can always say when it comes to like special effects in a movie, like no matter how scary like CGI can make the monsters that you don't see is always scary because it's your imagination building on that. I think that's the one place though where tabletop role playing games will always kind of fall down as compared to cinema. Because like you can say,
Uh,
like, oh, you see this vast, wasteland or something. You can have this mental image of it, but to actually see, that laid out to you in surround
huh.
sound and Technicolor and everything like that, I mean, there's nothing that really can compare it with that,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
even like especially in this day and age where we're talking about like dungeon terrain where everybody has like the dwarven forge and everything. It's like even that, like, it's very visual and it's very tactile, but it's not compared with that vast
Mm-hmm.
Technicolor landscape or anything. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
I think there's something there in game design that you're really hitting on, that while we have the capacity. Oh, and then there's gas planets, right? Like, you're fall anyways. There's like all these planets are iconically one ecosystem, but I think there's something in it that we want to be just like, to be really good for our players. We want to just be like one step, left or right of reality, so that it's something visceral that they can imagine, something that because I can't describe those vistas well enough, and the word vista means nothing, and vast doesn't mean anything. But if the world I'm describing is just a little bit off kilter from reality, then that's something that the player's mind can help fill in. You could I don't know. You could describe something. You could imagine. You can imagine something like Cyclopean and fourth dimensional, and everything in here on Cthulhu planet. Doesn't make dimensional sense, and my brain can't go there. I can't imagine it, and because I can't imagine it, the characters I'm playing can't explore it and interact with it in a meaningful way. So I think at least for landscape and for settings, we deliver best when it's really close to something in reality that I can imagine, and that because I can imagine it as a player, my character can interact with it in ways that are meaningful to the game. Anyways.
right. Yeah, I know
Right, Jared.
you're definitely onto something there. And
Yeah.
and I think, as I was saying, often it is where like a visual medium it can do a much better job of that. Like if I say, like you're going across the vast desert, there's buttes and there's like it rolls off to the horizon and everything. You might have an image of that, inspired by whatever Western or National
Mm-hmm.
Geographic,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
whatever your Instagram account that you're following, whatever. But then if you add something and like in the sky is this purple roiling ball
Yes.
of fire, like that's like, oh, okay, wait a minute, now suddenly I'm there. Suddenly
Yes.
you've done something that I can imagine the buttes and all the rest of it, but you've added this other element which completely my imagination really kicks in. So
Yes. And I think that's awesome. Right? Like, that's like, now we're holding a Goodman game seminar, but that's game design 101. Like, give me something familiar that I can imagine, and then add one element that's exotic and crazy, and all of a sudden that element seems real. If every element's exotic and crazy, I have nothing to latch onto. I have no place to stand, metaphorically, for to
right,
to imagine this world.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so all right. So in this case, now that we've kind of we've done, you've summed up, we've done game design 101. We've got it to this point and everything. What is the role of the character? What is the role of the landscape in the Purple Planet? I mean, because
Well, in every opportunity, the Purple Planet should be trying to kill the PCs and off the party. Um, the Purple Planet is perfectly familiar. It's these rolling wastes, these the ancestor peaks, these monstrous peaks that almost rise out of view above you, and down at the base of the slopes there's these rocky ridges that kind of radiate out, and the rest of the plateau at least is divided amongst these mushroom forests and kind of these rolling wastes, and and all of it, at least while the sun is high in the sky, draining you with its weirdling rays, it's all coming after you. It's a threat unto itself,
Mhm.
above and beyond all its inhabitants that are also trying to off you. I mean, I think it's just so profoundly wonderful that you know uh, Doug's cover, gives us, the variety of the mushrooms on the plant. Like this, can we just acknowledge really quickly that this cover is perhaps the coolest cover, created in the history of role playing games.
Right.
And that's not hyperbole. That's like to have a beautifully illustrated cover that also, on the backside serves as a key handout is
Hmm.
just brilliant and amazing.
And I think it goes kind of back to the same thing we were talking about. If you fold that cover out, because it's not just the two fold, it has
Right.
those
No,
two extra fold
we
outs.
don't stop there.
So I think that might, if not exactly, that might be close to the same aspect you get in a widescreen.
Oh,
It is this vast vista of
how cool is that?
you know,
That's the 16:9, whatever that ratio is. We should let Alana speak now. But yes, that is sitting in a movie theater in the front row, and you're 8 years old, and this vista is just washing over you, and it's all adventure, and like it's almost wraparound, right? I love that, Mike. That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. Well
so
done. All right.
so as I was saying, you can't really do like vistas like that in role playing game, but Doug has done his
But we
best.
can.
So, but again, much better to describe, to show in a visual format than to try to describe it.
Yes.
Like so.
Yes. Oh, I don't know. When Joseph and Doug were putting this cover together, I mean, I don't know. I'm so grateful that it's both so well illustrated and also at the same time just so profoundly useful, Anyways. But to answer your original question, yes, that's the Purple Planet is a character in itself, and the setting itself is out to get you.
So that kind of goes back to one of the things we touched on early on is that at its heart, the Peril on the Purple Planet is a hex crawl, and we'll
Yes. Yeah.
actually we're going to be not to tell tales out of school, but when we actually get around to the crowdfunding thing, there's going to be some things involved to help you can do that at home at your game table and everything like that. So
So, like, is there? I mean, I know it all depends on people backing it, but is there a chance that the beautiful world map could be
yeah,
something
we have
larger
it.
than 8.5
I
by
think
11?
Elena has
Oh,
access to that. We can actually show that on screen rather than have to so but yeah. So, but yeah, I mean that the idea kind of that we've been talking about is can we, because in the original adventure you get like the player hex map, which is kind of like what you can see kind of in the immediate area and everything.
sure.
But if all goes well, we will be able to lay out onto the table like this almost a blank vista, which maybe like this is where you begin, and then as you go, you can literally in real time begin annotating it or adding things to it.
Oh, dude,
Begin to
dude,
so,
is that
so
like booger glue? Like, how are you going to attach that inside of a hardcover?
well,
Inquiring
I
minds
mean,
want to know, Michael
that's
Curtis.
the amazing power of booger glue, right? Anything
Oh,
you can put anything, fold it up and stick in the back. But yeah. So yeah, I mean, because as we were talking about, landscape as character, and the Purple Planet is a character, and the Purple Planet, does not necessarily not wish you well, but like Great Cthulhu itself is an uncaring entity and does not care if you
Right,
live or
right, right,
die.
right, right, right,
Yeah.
right, right, right. It's not antagonistic. It's just you rate so poorly that it's
Mhm.
not even interested in you.
Yeah.
Not
Nature
to
red of tooth and claw, right?
right, right. Wow, I'm so excited at the potential for a player hex map that players can fill in as they explore. You're like, they had that at the back of like Isle of Dread, right? But none of us ever filled it out because we didn't have photocopiers.
All right.
Who's going to draw on the module?
But,
Um,
but again, we're talking about, like, the difference between 8x5 versus a sprawling vista, maybe poster size map that can fill up the table, or
oh, come on, make it happen, Mike. Come on,
I'm going to try, but it's going to be other people, throwing money around.
you're the
I
head
mean,
of product design. Don't let us down, man.
I like big Vista stuff. I mean, we've been trying to get that Mike's Crazy album, Judges Screen, funded for a while.
That's right. Oh man. Okay,
So,
all right.
so, yeah. But so it is this major role in whether it does not speak to you, it does not, attack, it doesn't it doesn't roll any dice to try to kill you, but you do find yourself, facing danger, and
Yes.
and that will take you, into the mushroom jungles to get out from the rays of the weirdling sun, and of course, the mushroom jungle is difficulty, or to
Right.
scale the peaks of the ancestor peaks, because there might be a cairn up there, a cairn up there with greenstone, or so
Love it.
it forces you to interact with this dangerous environment. So,
Thank you. Absolutely right. Yes. Thank you, Mike.
but of course, I mean, and that's just the natural part of it. So, but you
That's the
know,
hex crawl.
yeah,
that's,
but
that's getting from point A to point B.
right. And so we need to have a point A, we need to have a point B, and this is kind of where the intelligent denizens of the Purple Planet
Right.
come into play, because all cultures, they shape their landscape around them to their needs or to their desires and such. And it
Mm-hmm.
would be one thing if it was just a vast landscape trying to kill you, but there are places that you might end up. And kind of going along with what we were talking about, you take the normal and you just add that one element to it, which takes it into someplace else. So
Right.
we have two of those. Well, actually, there's more, but we have two of those we're going to call out, because these are created. These aren't just, mushroom jungles or whatever. This is something that people created, and
Right.
both of these play an important role of the ascended masters. These are kind of
Right.
like the command centers, or the capitals, or the headquarters, the
Mm-hmm.
city states
Mm-hmm.
of these. So these, I believe, with the two that we'll talk about, is Castellum Kotzist. Is that was
Yes,
that the
sir.
and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and of course the City of Smoke. And
Yeah.
so both of them are going to be quite memorable. So you want to kind of give us a lowdown on Castellum Kotzist first?
Sure. So the Castellum, it's essentially a fort that's been built around a central tower, where's House Costas, who are being worn down by these centuries of unending violence and brutality. That's where they make their capital, and where the ascended masters of the house reside. They're of the two dominant houses on the plateau. They're the more militant and the more disciplined among the two, and so there's but that discipline has come at a cost, right? And so they've their whip master has trained the kith so well that they almost take no initiative of their own, unless their captain or their commander is there to tell them something to do, for fear of stepping out of line and being punished for it. But as the more militant of the two, they also have the more military resources. And so, if you were PCs on the Purple Planet, and you really needed to acquire some greenstone shards and some ray lances, and my paladin is just really lusting after that suit of bulky battle armor that Doug has done a beautiful job illustrating. Like, this would be the place that you raid, right? And your PCs would slip over the spiked mushroom, barricades in the dead of night, to raid, the battery, and then try to make off with any weapons that they might succeed in looting as they make their way through this this fort city. So
Right.
that's House Kotzist. Yeah.
And it's kind of when I was thinking about it, we're talking about kind of like the icons of kind of storytelling and stuff. Is like there always has to be kind of the bastion of civilization in the wilderness, and whether that becomes the target or the safe haven or whatever. I mean, whether it's like Fort Apache from like going back to the
Right.
westerns, like the old the
Yes.
old cavalry
Yes.
fort, where you can flee when the Comanches come out of the hills or whatever, or as Bartertown, as
Right.
I mean, so it's this classic, you don't know what's behind the walls,
Mm-hmm.
until either you go there or you hear the stories, and then that affects your relationship with it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. Well, and the cool thing that like westerns have a history and a lineage that's not altogether upright, right? Like,
right.
like entire cultures were demonized, courtesy of westerns. The blessing of the Purple Planet is that everybody's a bad guy. Like, just because you have this fortress, this bastion of civilization, that does not mean they're the good guys. And nor, as when we get to it, the city of smoke, just because they're chaotic, and that ziggurat may be in a different place every new day, and they have their billowing city above that. They're not the good guys just because they're chaotic and rambling around. um the Purple Planet is full of foes. And it's up to the PCs to decide who they're going to ally with. We're not going to be the ones to tell them who are the good guys in this setting, and who are the bad guys, and who to ally
Right.
with.
I mean, I think even historically, who's the good guys and who's the bad guys depends on what side of the wall you're standing on. I mean, whether whether
Well,
whether you're the Goths looking down at Rome, or
right.
the U.S.
Right.
cavalry, looking at manning the walls of Fort
Mm-hmm.
Apache. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's actually specifically why I mentioned Bartertown, because Bartertown, because like the 1940s, 1950s, like the time of the Western, it was very much the white hats,
Right.
all the cowboys are the good guys, all the Indians are the bad guys.
Right.
And then once you start getting to, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, we literally had a place where, where civilization is nothing but amoral, I mean, they have everybody out to themselves. And, that not only changed in cinema, but it changed in like, how we look upon the world itself and everything. So like the
Uh-huh.
world becomes
Uh-huh.
more complex after 1962 for some reason. I mean, it's, so,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah.
no,
Well, and how lovely that the PCs get to come in here, and who knows, maybe our murder hobos, they become a force of morality, and they're against the tyranny of these ascended masters, and their false godhood. Or maybe our PCs succumb to it, right? And that's such the blessing of RPGs, is that when I run this for my library group, like the kids are all free to decide, are we going to be the good guys, or are we going to be the bad guys, or what do you want to do in this moment? And let's see how it plays out. Like, what a cool hobby that we get to
yeah,
contribute to,
yeah,
you know
without any of the actual real world, ramifications of our actions. I mean, and maybe we might learn something in the process too. So, so you did mention Pastor, you mentioned the city of smoke, but we haven't get too much down into that. So what for you alluded to it, but what, so people are just tuning in like city of smoke, that I'm sure that they're picking Pittsburgh, or they're picking cities of industry, but that's certainly not the case, right?
no. No, so if Kotzist is our powerful militant war bands that are slowly being winnowed down, Regantor has almost the inverse of this, right? Where there's just thousands upon thousands of kith, and a good chunk of them spend their time beneath this enormous ziggurat, this enormous stone ziggurat that they're carrying over their shoulders, and and every 5 steps, a kith collapses from exhaustion, and his foe, his brothers march over him, crushing his body to death, with it was this ziggurat on top of them. But at the there's a ziggurat being carried around by the Kith army, but then above, at the very top of the ziggurat, is there's this large brazier that's burning with fat, and it's casting up these clouds of dense black smoke. And Kith are constantly, refilling that brazier, with oil and fat, rendered fat, to make sure that the fires are continually burning. And sometimes if the PCs, find a way to, to talk to the ascended, or, summon the ascended masters of smoke, those billowing clouds coalesce and condense into an actual black carbon city, high in the sky above them. And that's the moving castle that is home to House Regantor. First there's stone ziggurat and the billowing, clouds of smoke, but then also this black dense city above that, in the clouds, that can be, summoned, if the ascended masters of the house, wish it to be so.
Mm-hmm.
That's the city of smoke.
And again, as we kind of lead it, you take something that you can grasp clearly in your mind and add that element to it that takes it somewhere else. So everybody can picture a ziggurat or a step pyramid or something, but then make it mobile under a mass, bestial, subservient people who are giving up their lives, to bear this across the unforgiving landscape, and you're just like, okay, now I can get behind that idea. So
it's just so fun, right? This almost like, like it gets back to, like, you start thinking, like, legends of the Tower of Babel, and they're carving this massive thing. Like, well, here's similar here, just like scores and scores and legions of kith bearing a ziggurat on their back, in this pointless task of marching it across, the barren wastes at the commands of, probably nonsensical commands of their ascended masters. That's so fun.
Not saying there might be metaphors in here for other things, but I mean,
we'll leave that to the reader. Far be it from me to tell you what to think.
Always leave it up to the readers, right? Yeah, the author projects a canvas upon which you fill in with your colors, right? So I mean, for the people who have not had a chance to experience the Purple Planet first time, I think it's definitely going to be it's going to be. I'm hoping that people who are turning in lessons is like, all right, this sounds really weird and really lethal, but I can't wait to kind of venture there and everything, and I'm hoping that we get some cool, as we're kind of dealing with this hex map and the various elements to it. I'm looking forward to, like, maybe some cool markers depicting the city of smoke, and maybe the city of smoke. Maybe if it's it's not glued to the table, maybe it moves about.
Oh, cool, dude! Oh, how much fun would that be, right? Oh my gosh! Wow.
And I think that's great because I mean the Purple Planet as a hex crawl, very in your style adventure, you kind of lay out all the toys on the table, like Harley Stroke, you fill the toy box, and then you open it up and you let everybody come and play with the toys, and there's no instructions, it's not Legos, it's not like we have to put this block upon this block and build this structure. It's literally, here's all the pieces, make something of it, and there are so many elements here of the Purple Planet. It's going to be interesting to see what people do with all of those. So,
well, thank you, Mike, and thank you for making it possible. Like, it's the box set is almost literally impossible. Like, if you gave me $500 and said, Harley, find a box, I don't know that Noble Knight has it anymore. Like, I think it's whatever. There's some bookstore in Maine that has a box set still, but we don't know where it's at. So to be able to provide this for folks again to play on the Purple Planet and to really make this setting theirs and explore it again is really awesome. So
there's probably a copy in the story of Brendan LaSalle has said about the first time where he bought his first Dungeons and Dragons box set. He bought it in like a sewing supply shop somewhere in Georgia or something like that. It was so there's So if you can't find one in Noble Light, check Michael's. Like maybe there's one. So,
oh.
So all right, well, I think we have done a decent dive into the Purple Planet again for this one. We will be back next month. Right now we're looking at December 12th. Since it is the holiday season, however, not long after that, everybody's lives get busy. So we're just going to be doing one next month. So we'll be around December 12th. Right now we're trying to confirm to getting another guest to join us because we'll
Nice.
talk about some of the additional adventures. We've talked about the Purple Planet itself, but one of the things about the reprint is going to collect, the other adventures that people, as I was talking about, you gave people a toy box to play with, so people have taken some stuff out and they've written down what those things are. And we're also, I think we'll take a little time and talk about the chessmen of the Purple Planet, which is
Oh, that'd be awesome.
yeah, because
I'd love to do that.
that's going to be the brand new adventure, which will be
Oh,
by yourself, which will be in the Return to the Purple Planet reprint.
I'm
So
stoked.
new
That's very
material.
cool.
So even if you've already experienced the Purple Planet, there's going to be more new stuff too. So
And so educate the ignorant. When does this full thing launch? Like when can we
I
when
I will say
when can we make booger glue happen?
this will I will say this is that Joseph Goodman has always taught me very well. It's just never give an exact date.
Fair enough.
I will say right now we're looking quarter 1 2024. So
Awesome.
so I'm just saying if Santa is a little nice to you for Christmas and gives you a little extra money, maybe you want to like tuck that away for maybe in the months not too far afterwards because it might be coming to us.
Awesome.
But in return, you will get Purple Planet stuff. So
Awesome.
all right.
All right.
Harley, always a pleasure to hang out with you. And everybody else, we will, for those of you who are celebrating here in the States, have a great Thanksgiving. Whatever you do, stay safe out there. Stay warm if you're, in places like where Harley and I are right now. And we'll be back just before the full-on holiday season for our last Return to the Purple Planet of 2023. So
All right.
have a good
Good
night,
night,
everybody.
everybody. Thanks for coming out.
Bye.